What's up, everyone? This is your host, Ghost, coming to you live with another wonderful video. How is everyone doing today? I am doing well myself. Uh, Sorry about yesterday. I was busy. What did I have to do yesterday? I had to do something. Something was going on yesterday. I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah. Our newborn had her 8th month checkup, so I had to take care of our oldest. Well, that happened. So, oh, sorry about that, Mike. Anyways, um, yeah, so that's all. Or not 8. Did I say 8 month? It was a 4 month checkup. So it was a 4 month one. Uh, do, do, do. Sorry. There we go. Yeah. So that's why there was no show yesterday. I'm sorry for being a little late. Mornings are hard for me. Get up this early. But anyways, um, so what we got today? Well, we're gonna check out some of the testimony of Cheatle. Um, it was a complete political circus, is what it really was. Although wildly entertaining, of course. No, wildly entertaining. It was really nothing but a way for Republicans, I guess, and Congress people to score some brownie points. It really does nothing. Like having the director come up and explain like the nuances of an investigation is pretty fucking useless. Um, so like I said, it's just a complete and utter was it pony show. There was nothing of value of bringing the director in. I think they are continuing to still have a hearing about the matter of Donald Trump attempted assassination. But who really needs to be brought in and fired for sure is his head of his detail and the advanced team lead. Because the way it works is Secret Service will send uh, uh, send in people team prior to wherever an individual goes. That's under Secret Service permission or protection. Uh, and sorry. Uh, what was I gonna say? Sorry, brain's not working. Yeah, they send an advance team to check out the area. They assess the area. They go and talk to anyone that's been flagged for either making some sort of comments against Trump or whoever. Um, and let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to look at some fucking clips because I want to watch the full damn testimony because it was just a dog and pony show. There wasn't anything of real value to get in except just to have a uh, Congress people look tough and score some political brownie points. That's all it really is. Although I'm not sorry that she resigned. It just due to the fact it was such an abysmal failure, and the buck starts at Cheatle. And I think if I remember correctly, they had asked for additional security for Trump, and she denied it. So I mean, it ultimately fell onto her fault, really. But that is what it is. Anyways, so we'll look at a few clips. I got one of even AOC who actually asked a pretty good fucking question, apparently. We got like a couple clips here or there. And then just yesterday she resigned after not yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday she resigned. So we'll check a look at that coverage. Then we'll check out some of Kamala's campaigning, and then her doing a Freudian slip and saying that almost saying that either Biden was a recording that he was talking to, or on recovery. Either or, because those who don't know, during her campaign, one of her campaigns, Biden called in to talk to her and give her a pep talk. And at that point, Biden had been missing for like 5 days or something like that. No one had seen him in person. So there were rumors going around, and we'll just check a look at that because it was pretty fucking funny. And then, of course, Biden has finally reappeared. We can all see him now, although he appears confused when asked about his resignation or his dropping out. So we'll check a look at all that. And then we got body cam footage of on the rooftop from the assassination attempt. We'll take a look at that. And then finally, Trump is filing a complaint against Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party, saying they violated federal election law when Biden laundered his campaign cash to Kamala. So we'll take a look at that, and yeah, that'll be the show. I got a bit of a time clock. Sorry. As I am having something removed today, so I need to be done in like an hour and a half. So before I get into it, follow me on X at @officialwghost. That's the best way to find out when I go live and what I'm up to. Follow me on Rumble, rumble.com/withghost. Rumble's the main channel. Wherever I go or whatever happens, I will be on Rumble. youtube.com/@withghost is the YouTube channel, and then twitch.tv/officialwithghost. And then, of course, there is twitch.tv/officialwithghost. So those are the various options you have at your disposal to watch me. Hold on. So let's get into it. We'll be taking a look at a few clips here and here. I can't get all of them because there were some good ones, but I don't remember. I don't think I saved them. Can't fucking find them either. Again, I just want to point out that it was completely useless for them to bring the Secret Service director down. She has no real direct line to investigation or anything like that. I do think that she should resign over this due to her part of denying the request for Trump to get additional Secret Service. She did do that, so I think it's appropriate for her to resign after this. But calling her down to Congress was kind of useless and completely, utterly pure political theater.
Were agents or officers inside the building? If so, what floor were they on?
We had local police officers inside the building.
The roof looks like it's a tin roof. How did no one inside that building hear someone moving on top of a metal roof?
I don't have the details of all of the interviews that have been conducted yet.
When will you have those?
I have been asking, and I want to have that information as soon as you do.
Okay. Well, why did Secret Service fail to block the line of sight from that roof?
I think that the Secret Service put together a plan where they were counting that roof in as part of their overwatch. And that was the plan that they had put in place that day.
If you weren't going to put a security personnel on the roof, why not at least use drone technology or aerial surveillance to monitor the rally?
There are a number of times that we do use drone technology. I'm not speaking specifically to this event and what was utilized or not. There are times when drone technology is available and helpful at events, and there are times when it is not appropriate.
Do y'all use signal?
How would a drone not be appropriate or useful in this aspect? I'm just curious because it seemed like a big old open space. So it would seem to me that drones would have been perfect for this particular area. I don't know. This is me, though.
You personally use Signal to communicate with any official from the White House? Signal on your phone.
Oh, on occasion, I'm sure that there are people that use Signal. Yes.
Okay. Do you use it to speak with the White House? Use Signal?
No, I do not.
Okay. When was Thomas Crooks first identified as a person of interest? Let me help you at 5:10. He was spotted with a rangefinder at 5:51. And when did Secret Service notice him?
Again, I don't have those specific timelines, but it was a relatively short period of time.
Again, it's all this is really useless. She's not gonna have these answers. She has no idea what you're talking about, and it's all fairly useless to be asking questions like her of this of her. But again, who cares?
Time.
Let me help you. 5:52. Ms. Cheatle, why was President Trump allowed on stage 10 minutes after the Secret Service spotted a suspicious individual?
Again, this
that seems to me to be the worst thing of all. Of all the breakdown and all this communication, all the BS you've been feeding us here today or not feeding us, that seems to be the
a little background is she has been highly evasive this entire time. She was highly evasive the entire time that she was taking, which explains some of the frustration that the Congress people had during this. She actually got called out and said this is complete bullshit, which was hilarious. So yeah,
the question.
So as I've stated before, there are a number of events where suspicious people may be identified. That doesn't necessarily.
Ma'am, I submit to you, you got a guy who's going to be the next president of the United States on stage. I've been to these events. We've all been to these events. A car backfired and that's not acceptable. Did the Secret Service tell President Trump they'd spotted a suspicious individual before he was shot?
Unclear as to what the communication was with the former president.
Okay,
at that
I'll
time.
take that as a no. Did y'all deny President Trump's request for more security? Yes or no? And when was the most recent request for additional security?
The rally request for security, all of those requests were fulfilled.
And were there any personnel redirected to Jill Biden's rally?
No.
Who made the decision on the direction of agents at either one of those rallies?
All right. So prior, we heard a bunch of sorry, hold on, thank you. We heard a bunch of they denied Trump Secret Service protection. Donald Trump hasn't got any Secret Service. Blah 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 blah. Like they weren't quite giving him what he needed. Now she's saying, he got everything he needed. I doubt it, considering he was shot at.
I'm unclear as to your question on the direction of the agents.
I said, who directed those agents to be at Miss Biden's rally or President Trump's rally? The specific agents.
So there is a methodology in which agents are available for appointments, and they are assigned based on either geographic location or logistics or flight.
Ma'am, I appreciate all that, but that methodology about got President Trump killed. Was the security detail guarding President Trump a temporary detail?
The personnel who are assigned to the former president's detail are assigned to him.
Why was there a different detail on the opening night of the convention than the detail that was guarding him in Pennsylvania?
The president has a very large permanent protective detail assigned to him. They work shift work, and so it could be that people you saw at the rally were not working the same shift the day that he was.
I can assure you, ma'am, somebody that's a lot shorter than the president was not at the convention, and the people that were cowering down behind the mass of agents that were on,
AKA the women. There were no women at the rally.
top of the president were not in the convention hall. At least I didn't see them. You can't seem to answer a single question about an ongoing investigation, man.
I mean, that's very common that, you know, they don't answer questions on an incoming investigation. But also, again, she's not the one conducting the investigation, so she's not really going to have anything to actually be able to provide. Again, this whole thing was political theater. And don't get me wrong, it was entertaining as fuck. I enjoyed every minute. I'm enjoying every minute of it because I haven't watched the actual full shit. So it's entertaining as hell, and I'm all for it. But it's again entirely and utterly useless. Okay, it's completely useless because she's not going to have any of the answers because she's not an investigative body. So there's no point in grilling her. But you know, it's political theater. It's just for them to score brownie points for their constituents.
And you don't know when the information will be released publicly. Are you waiting for the administration to sign off?
No, I am waiting for the results of the investigation, at which time.
Okay. Let me ask you one more question. You found explosives in the shooter's possession. Is that correct?
The FBI found explosives.
Do we know who directed this young man how to make those explosives?
I believe that the FBI is still looking into that on their investigation.
Ms. Cheatle, you said that the buck stops with me, and I agree. I don't think you should resign. I think you should have been fired. Ma'am, you are a DEI horror story. I've told my daughter multiple times, my wife and my daughter, we talk to her all the time about how she's going to succeed in life.
Now, look, I agree with everything this guy's saying, but again, it's just theater. It's just a pony show. It's just that's all this is. Like, there's nothing really to this. Entertaining as fuck, but this is pointless.
She'll succeed in life by achieving. Ma'am, you have not achieved today. You've let the American public down.
Let the American public down. Okay. Let's check out this one.
Sir, I'm sure, as you can imagine, that we are just 9 days out from this incident, and there's still an ongoing investigation. And so I want to make sure.
Incident? You mean the assassination attempt? Because that's what it was. It wasn't an incident. This was an assassination attempt on a presidential nominee.
Or that any information that we are providing to you is factual.
You can't. Okay. Why did the Secret Service not? Can you answer why the Secret Service didn't place a single agent on the roof?
We are still looking into the advanced process and the decisions that were made.
Well, okay. Wasn't that building within the perimeter that should be secured? Do we agree with that?
The building was outside of the perimeter on the day of the visit. But again, that is one of the things that during the investigation, we want to take a look at and determine whether or not other decisions should have been made.
One of the things that you said, I believe.
I mean, the decision that should have been made would have been to like put a cop on that roof. Because here's the problem. Like, this isn't like, this wasn't like a, well, let's see. It's kind of close, but, you know, or it's, you know, there's kind of a line sight. I don't, you know, there's nothing, you know, it's one of those, you know, it's not that situation where it's like, you know, it's kind of close or not kind of, but it's like, you know, there is a possibility someone could, you know, make an attempt, but it's a little far away. There's a bunch of shit in the way. I don't think there's a good shot. It's not that. As you can see in this picture here, it's a very clear line of sight. Okay, it's a very clear line of sight. Like, it's very obvious that there's a good line of sight right here, and that's like a fucking, you know, sniper's wet dream. So that's the difference here. That's why this, again, it's, you know, she's not able to answer these questions. She's so far removed. She's just political. It's like, it's not really a law enforcement agent. She's just political. You know, that's all she is. So, but it's a very blatant, you know, thing here that, hey, it's a clear line of sight. Why isn't there anyone assigned here? So,
in an interview, that there wasn't an agent on the roof because it was a sloped roof. Is that Is that normal? And do you fear that that immediately creates an opportunity for future would-be assassins to look for a slanted roof? I mean, this is a huge question that every American has. Why wasn't a Secret Service agent on the roof? And there have been reports that agents were supposed to be on the roof, but it was hot that day and they didn't want to be on the roof. Can you answer any of those questions, Director?
So I appreciate you asking me that question, Chairman. I should have been more clear in my answer when I spoke about where we place personnel in that interview. What I can tell you is that there was a plan in place to provide overwatch, and we are still looking into responsibilities and who was going to provide overwatch. But the Secret Service in general, not speaking specifically to this incident, when we are providing overwatch, whether that be through counter snipers or other technology, prefer to have sterile rooftops.
Did the Secret Service use any?
Yeah, that's one. I mean, a preference is one thing, but just because you have a preference, you're not going to have a preference every time. You're not going to achieve your preference every time. So at that point, it's your responsibility to be like, well, I really don't like this, but I'm going to do it anyways. It's one of those situations. Like, yeah, look, I have a preference, but I have to settle for this. So I'm going to settle for this because I have to. So it's a very dumb excuse here.
The drones for surveillance that day?
So again, I'm not going to get into specifics of that day in itself, but there are times during a security plan that the Secret Service does deploy an asset like a drone.
There were reports that the shooter used a drone just a few hours before the rally start time. Is that accurate?
I have heard those same reports, and again, am waiting for the final report.
Do you know, if you can't answer the question, that's your answer. But can you answer this? Do you know? I'm not asking yes or no, but do you know if the shooter used a drone before the shooting?
That information has been passed to us from the FBI.
How many Secret Service agents were assigned to President Trump on the day of the rally?
Again, I'm not going to get into the specifics of the numbers of personnel that we had there, but we feel that there was a sufficient number of agents assigned.
There are reports that several agents.
Here's the thing: you can't say that you feel there were sufficient numbers assigned when there was an assassination attempt, and a near successful one, I might add. So it's a complete crap answer. And again, she's a director. She's meaningless. You need to have the head of the security detail, and you need to have the advanced team leader here, not the director of the Secret Service. And again, she should also be fired because it's her fault. Like, at the end of the day, the buck stops there. She ended up resigning, but like it's just stupid. I thought it was stupid. I saw it was wildly entertaining, but I thought it was stupid to have a director there who can't really give you any of the answers that they want or need.
Agents assigned to the rally on July 13th were temporary agents not normally assigned to President Trump. Is that accurate?
What I can tell you is that the agents that were assigned to former President Trump are Secret Service agents that provide close protection to him. And that was what was actual on that day.
How many temporary agents were there that day?
Quite frequently, sir, during campaign events, the Secret Service utilizes agents from HSI or the Department of Homeland Security.
You don't know how many?
Supplement our plan.
Have the investigators reconstructed the shooter's precise movements over the past days, weeks, and months?
She's not going to know that.
So, again,
we need to have confidence that if the FBI is leading this investigation, that they're leading a credible investigation, because there's some of us sitting up here today that don't have a lot of confidence in the FBI. So I will repeat the question. Have the investigators reconstructed?
Again, this is a useless question. I agree. You may not have some confidence in the FBI, but this is a useless question. And let me explain why. She's not the FBI. She doesn't have anything at all to give you. She has no idea. She's not part of the investigation. She's not leading the investigation. She's not even an agent. She's a political opponent or appointee here, basically. All she does is politics all day. So, you may want these answers, and they're good questions, but it's pointless to ask her because she won't know.
reconstructed the shooter's precise moments over the past days, weeks, and months?
I understand your question, Chairman, and I share your concerns about wanting to make sure that we have factual information. The FBI is conducting a criminal investigation. The Secret Service is conducting an internal investigation. There are a number of OIG investigations, and there is the external investigation. The president.
Last question for me.
So again, it's all useless, thing. Now, apparently, AOC asked a good question. She asked a good question. Let's hear that.
Of a report. So the notion of a report coming out in 60 days when the threat environment is so high in the United States, irrespective of party, is not acceptable. And I think it's very important to understand that. This is not theater. This is not about jockeying. This is about the safety of some of the.
Okay, now she's just blabbering. See if I can find this. Okay, here we go.
Director Cheatle, respectfully, what you had just laid out about 60 days. We are currently in the midst of an especially concentrated presidential campaign in the moment. That is also paired with, of course, elections happening across the country. They're happening in about 100 days. So the notion of a report coming out in 60 days when the threat environment is so high in the United States, irrespective of party, is not acceptable. And I think it's very important to understand that. This is not theater. This is not about jockeying. This is about the safety of some of the most highly targeted and valued targets internationally and domestically in the United States of America. So the idea that a report will be finalized in 60 days, let alone prior to any actionable decisions that would be made, is simply not acceptable. It has been 10 days since an assassination attempt on a former president of the United States, regardless of party. There need to be answers. Again, this party, this committee, this is not a moment of theater. We have to make policy decisions, and we have to.
Oh my God.
That may require that we are flying blind. So the lack of answers and the lack of report is just simply not something that we can accept here. Again,
it's pointless.
Director Cheatle, is there a standard perimeter that the Secret Service establishes around an event, or are those perimeters independently determined per event and scenario?
There is no standard. Every event and every venue is different and treated as such.
So each event has a different perimeter that is established depending on the logistics of that event. Now, you established earlier that the building upon which the shooter operated from was outside of that established perimeter, correct, for the Butler, Pennsylvania event?
It was outside of our secure perimeter, yes.
Now, that building was, I believe, 500. How far away was that building from the president?
It was approximately 200 yards.
200 yards. Now, the individual used an AR-15 in order to act out his assassination attempt. An AR-15 has a range of about 400 to 600 yards.
Okay, so this is a good question here.
My question is, why does the Secret Service perimeter, why is the Secret Service protective perimeter shorter than one of the most popular semi-automatic weapons in the United States?
There are a number of weapons out there with a number of ranges. Again, an advance was completed the determination of the perimeter. I'm not going to speak to specifics, but there are a number of factors that are taken into account when we determine our perimeter. Some of it has to do with terrain, some of it has to do with buildings, some of it has to do with assets and resources that are available.
And so what I'm hearing is that a perimeter was not established outdoors in an outdoor venue that would prevent an AR-15, which is one of the most common weapons used in mass shootings, from being able to be within the range of Secret Service protection.
A perimeter was established, and even though there were buildings that were outside of that perimeter, it wasn't just that building. There were a number of buildings in the area, and there was over.
Again, the problem with this is the fact that although there may have been a number of buildings in the area, this particular building had a clear line of sight to Donald Trump.
Watch that was created to help mitigate some of those buildings.
Respectfully, Dr. Cheatle, as well, as a person who has experienced an enormous amount of threat incidents, including incidents that have never been reported publicly, there is a common pattern that happens here, whether it's Secret Service, FBI, Capitol Police, local departments. After a critical security failure, we often hear there will be an independent investigation. That independent investigation gets set up. Usually the expectation is between 2 to 3 months after the incident, and then nothing really occurs from there. The report is usually not satisfactory to the questions that are usually being raised here. And most importantly, corrective action is rarely taken.
This is just pointless at this point. All right, so there we go. So there was some uselessness there. That's all that was. It was all useless. There's some more. Now, they are currently having a hearing with the FBI director, Director Ray. That's going to probably be far more useful, and we'll check that out probably tomorrow. But yeah, like I said yesterday, she ended up resigning. So let's listen to that.
One of many who had called for the resignation and called for accountability with the U.S. Secret Service, with Kimberly Cheatle, the head of that agency, going before lawmakers just yesterday on the House Oversight Committee to answer their questions about the failures. She herself called it a failure on the day that this assassination attempt happened just about a week and a half ago in Butler, Pennsylvania, where ultimately Donald Trump was shot in the ear, but managed to have non-life-threatening injuries. One man was killed. 2 others at that rally were also injured. And Ryan, let me come back to you, because the bottom line here is it was a bipartisan call for her resignation after the hearing yesterday because of the lack of answers that they felt they received from her, the lack of transparency, and ultimately the lack of confidence in her leadership over this agency going forward.
Yeah, and I think it's important to point out, Anna, that there were a series of questions in the aftermath of this shooting that members of Congress wanted answered immediately. Like, for instance, how was it that a building could be less than 150 yards away from where the president was going to be?
Now, again, I think she should have resigned and all that. I'm completely fine with that. She denied, although she denied it here, she denied, Donald Trump additional Secret Service and all that stuff. But who also needs to be fired is the team lead, or who needs to resign but should be fired. The team lead and the advanced team leader, they should be fired. So hopefully we'll see that here soon.
And that the roof of that building be unsecured, not guarded. That was a simple question to a simple answer to a simple question. At least members of Congress viewed it as such. They wanted to know why it was outside the security perimeter, why it wasn't Secret Service that was responsible for that building. And if it weren't Secret Service who were responsible for that building, then who could it possibly be? And there just weren't direct answers to those questions. And so, that was viewed by many members of Congress as an outright failure, that decision to leave that particular building unguarded.
And again, that falls on the team lead, not really the director, but the team lead.
And so what they were looking for in this hearing yesterday was an explanation. Well, the reason that we were unable to leave this unguarded, or why that roof was not protected, is because of X, Y, and Z. This protocol that we use, we didn't have enough resources. We had extended that responsibility to local law enforcement. They didn't follow through on that execution. Director Cheatle couldn't answer any of those questions. Now, in her defense, this is not very long after the investigation. She said that the FBI was handling much of the criminal investigation into this, and that it could take as much as 60 days to get the answers to some of those questions. But one of the reasons that members of Congress were so frustrated is that these are problems that need to be fixed immediately. We are now at the heat of a campaign. You have a former president who is running for the office again. He now has a running mate, a vice presidential candidate who needs protection. You now have a current president who's no longer running for office, but now a current vice president who will more than likely become the nominee of the party. That is going to require a tremendous amount of effort by the Secret Service to make sure that every single event that these particular candidates are involved in are secure.
Okay. Again, that was useless. Yeah, so she resigned, which is good. You know, she kind of sucked. But again, it really needs to be fired is the team lead, the head of the detail, and then the advanced team leader. Those people need to be fired for sure. Because it's their fault too. It's their fault. It's ultimately more their fault than the director, I would say, because they were the ones on the ground. Now we got a little breaking news here. Apparently, there's a bunch of barriers going up in front of the White House, and this is going to be prior to, Biden's announcement. What the fuck? So Biden's expected to give an Oval Office announcement tonight at 8 p.m. There are a bunch of barriers going up. Why? It's a very interesting question. Why? Okay, so let's check out Kamala Harris. Now, again, this is prior to Trump, or prior to Biden reappearing to the public.
It is so good to hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call.
So there it is. There's her Freudian strip on the call. So, yeah, they're saying what she almost said was recording. So let's listen back to that. That's how dumb this broad is.
Our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call.
Joe, I know you're still on the recording. Or was she going to say on the recovery? People are saying recording. I'm thinking maybe she was going to say recovery. I think that makes more sense than saying on the recording. That's just, it doesn't. Let's listen to this again.
Joe, I know you're still on the call.
See, it doesn't make sense for her to say, Joe, I know you're still on the recording. That doesn't make any sense. But what makes more sense would be for her to be saying, I know you're on the recovery. I think that makes more sense than the recording. Because it just doesn't make sense for her to be saying on the recording. But again, it could have been a Florian slip. Like she knows this is a recording, and so that's what gave her the thought of it. But this kind of here just lost its steam now that Biden showed up yesterday.
And we've been talking every day. You guys heard it from Doug's voice. We love Joe and Jill. We really do.
So there you go. That's the Freudian slip that was all up in there. That was a Freudian slip. Again, Biden has showed up since then. We'll take a look at that here quick, but let's look at some of president nominee or presidential candidates Kamala Harris's what she's going to campaign for.
And we who believe in reproductive freedom.
I bet you don't believe in reproductive freedom for men.
will stop Donald Trump's extreme abortion bans because
Wait, hold on. So, how is it an extreme abortion ban to say, hey, let's leave it up to the states where the people can vote on it within their states? So, for example, Texas has an abortion ban. Okay, let's do Kentucky. It's smaller. Kentucky has an abortion ban. You know what they can do, Kentuckians? If they really want abortion, what they can do is come election time, state election, they can go and fuck, my brain just froze. They can go. I'm a fucking idiot. My brain stopped. They can go and elect for individuals to say, I'm going to allow abortion to happen in the state. They can do that. So it makes more sense to let it to the state because people have more control in their state than a federal election. Okay. There's more, your vote counts more in a state election than a federal one, I would say. So you can easily just vote into office the people that will promise you abortion. So I don't understand. I don't think it's an extreme abortion ban to be like, hey, I'll just leave it up to the states. Let them handle it.
we trust women to make decisions about their own body.
They keep making bad decisions. They keep getting pregnant by ain't shit dudes, and then complaining that ain't shit dudes are ain't shit dudes. So like, can you really trust them to make good decisions, even about their own body?
And not have their government tell them what to do.
They're not really telling them what to do. They're telling them you can't do this. It's not really telling them what to do. It's like, you're not allowed to do this. You want to change that, get out and vote for people that will give you that. But we're not going to be going about and saying, ugh. We're not going to be like, hey, I can't even remember what I was going to say. That's how tired I am.
And when Congress passes a law to restore reproductive freedoms as President of the United States, I will sign it into law.
It's amazing how much women just really want to kill babies. Kind of just shows how much of an evil they are. Is they're just so wanting to just to kill babies. They just really need to kill babies for whatever fucking reason. It's really ridiculous. This is the main point you get with women is let's kill babies. Let's let you kill babies. Like, is there? I would say there's a far more net good for saying no, you can't kill babies than there is of let's let you kill babies because you can't make good decisions. That's what it really is. Abortion is just admitting you can't make good decisions. Like that's all it is. You can't make good decisions, so we're going to allow you to be held less accountable for your poor decisions. So, all right, and now Harris, of course, as typical of a Democrat, wants to ban guns for some reason. Let's listen to this.
Will finally pass red flag laws.
Oh, unconstitutional laws. Got it. And universal background checks.
Universal background checks and an assault weapons ban.
Oh, okay. So you want to strip people more of their Second Amendment freedom. Why? She wants to introduce red flag laws that are extremely unconstitutional. You can't they're like so unconstitutional. It's not even funny at this point. But what and not only do you want to, to an unconstitutional law, strip them of a Second Amendment right. Oh, let's listen to this. Hold on. She apparently has gone further.
Gun violence has terrorized and traumatized so many of our communities in this country. And let us be clear,
I'm assuming this is an old clip.
it does not have to be this way, as our friends in Australia have demonstrated. Gun
Oh, so she wants to steal guns, remove guns. I love people who are so down to want to have guns removed from people that fucking hell. I can't get a straight thought today. I'm sorry. I was gonna say something and I can't remember what the fuck I was gonna say. But yeah, so she wants to allow you to kill kids, and then she also wants you to be unable to protect yourselves against dangers. It's very weird. Like, we want to ensure that you can kill kids if you want to. We also want to make sure that that you are that you can't protect yourself if dangerous shit happens. Oh man, it's ridiculous. And like, this is just funny. Like, they're all really like, Democrats are really into Kamala Harris. And I don't think they realize that it's not going to go well for them. I do look forward to Donald Trump's and his and Kamala Harris's debate, because I think that's gonna end up exposing them far more than anything we say. It's gonna expose her real well as an incompetent, bumbling idiot, and it's really funny. Like, they think they're really, oh, she's so amazing, she's so great, she's so amazing, and she's not. I don't think it's going to go well for her. Remember, Tulsi Gabbard ended her presidential run in like a few minutes. But I think people forget that. All right. So Biden finally reappeared after forever. The man has returned. The God Emperor has returned. All right, let's check this out. There's no sound.
The racer. She dropped out of the race, sir.
How are you feeling about Harris's campaign?
Can Harris beat Trump? Can Harris beat Trump, Mr. President?
Okay. There's no fucking sound that first bit. I have another clip. Let's see if this one is better.
Why did you drop out, Mr. President? Why did you drop out of the election? Was it a difficult decision to make? Drop out of the election. Drop out, Mr. President. Why did you drop out of the election? Was it a difficult decision?
Very interesting. So he can't really answer. He's like, what? Now, that could be he just couldn't hear. But he's, oh my God, there's a woman. One woman's on fucking on Biden's detail. He's up next. Be aware, Biden. Stay alive, man. It could have been like the caption above says he looks genuinely confused. He just couldn't hear. Maybe couldn't hear him because he's old as fuck. I think that's a far more accurate assumption. Is he's old as fuck and couldn't hear what the fucking question. But we'll see. He's supposed to address the nation tonight at 8 p.m. I'll cover that tomorrow. So just be on the lookout for that. I'm kind of going through these quickly. I realize that I don't have the energy today to really do this. Just kind of sucks. All right, so this is body cam footage. Apparently, it's going to show a second person was detained, and the officers had pictures/videos of him on their phones before the shooting took place. So let's just check that out, I guess.
He's the one that sent the pictures out. I don't know if you got the same ones I did.
I think I did, yeah. He's like got his glasses on and he's
Oh shit! You can see his foot.
So we had the picture of that.
I got that
Okay,
picture,
and then
yeah.
this is his bike with the stuff. And our
Okay.
sniper seen him walking away from that, I believe.
Okay.
But he would be right inside that window. He's the one that physically seen this, sent the pictures, and called it out.
Okay, so and we have somebody detained, correct? There
That
were
I
two
don't know.
people detained on this side. Our guy that was just up here told me that there's a guy detained.
Okay, so apparently there are 2 additional people detained. That's interesting. We haven't heard much about it. I don't know. Maybe if the FBI director even said anything about it at the hearings. I'll check that out later. But yeah, like I said, it's all very interesting. It's the first time we're hearing anything of additional people being detained. You'd think we'd hear that. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that these people were involved. They could have simply been around and, it's been a suspicious circumstances. They were arrested along with him or detained. As far as I know, there's been additional arrests, but it's interesting to say the least. It just gives more questions than answers. All right. This is my last thing. I can feel the energy going. I'm about don't have the energy apparently. All right. So let's see. Trump FEC complaint raises legal stakes for swapping Harris in for Biden. As Democrats pursue a smooth transition to another nominee after Biden's withdrawal from the 2024 presidential race, Republican strategists and lawmakers are weighing legal challenges to swapping Biden's operation for Kamala Harris's brand new campaign. One of the top questions over whether Harris can smoothly slide into what was once Biden's Democratic nomination is whether her campaign can easily inherit the $91.5 million left over from what was the Biden campaign. The uncertainty was underscored on Tuesday when former President Donald Trump's campaign filed a complaint to the FEC Commission, the Federal Election Commission, against Biden and Harris, accusing them of violating campaign finance laws by sending the president's funds over to the vice president. Sorry about that. Some campaign finance lawyers earlier this week jumped to conclusions that Harris has a legal claim to the campaign funds, but others, such as FEC Commission Chairman Sean Cooksey, raised concerns immediately after Biden dropped out of the race. If a candidate is not a candidate in the general election, all contributions made for the general election shall be either returned or refunded to the contributors, or redesignated or reattributed as appropriate. Cooksey, a Trump appointee, posted X citing Section 1101.1B3 of federal campaign finance regulations. Hosman Vogel, partner and campaign finance expert Steve Roberts, told the Washington Examiner on Tuesday that the FEC is very much alive due to the entirely unprecedented nature of Biden's withdrawal. Roberts, who works on behalf of clients seeking to bring FEC challenges to the recent campaign switch, underscores that the roughly $95 million given by donors prior to the Harris campaign launch should be returned within 60 days. There are frankly a few different angles that are worth pursuing. The one that, in my mind, that stands out the most is they shouldn't even have the opportunity to figure out what to do with the money because it should be refunded to donors in the first place, Roberts said, noting the only donations that wouldn't be subject to scrutiny are contributions made since Biden dropped out of the race on Sunday. As questions swirl over whether Harris can legally rake in the funds donated to the Harris campaign prior to Sunday, Cooksey said Democrats were trying to silence him after ranking House Administration Committee member Joseph Morell, Democrat NY, penned a letter to clarify misrepresentation of FEC law. All I did was quote federal regulations. Why are Democrats afraid of the law? Cooksey has said. Cooksey maintained there will be challenges brought to the FEC and courts, and probably in courts as well, according to the interview on NPR Morning Edition. Cooksey maintained there will be challenge. Ellen Weltrap, a vice chairwoman of the FCC, told the outlet she is more prone to believe the transfer funds will be legally sound, arguing that the bottom line is it's the same committee. I think the clever lawyers are always coming up with complications. It's kind of what they're in the business of doing. I wouldn't be surprised to see someone trying to challenge it in some way, Weintraub added. Some election law experts told the Washington Examiner if a lawsuit was successful, there could be a workaround for Democrats trying to get the money back into her hands, such as sending the funds back to owners with the hope that they'll funnel their campaign dollars right back to Harris's new campaign. Roberts conceded that donors can always take the initiative of sending back the funds if they are returned, but the Harris campaign cannot assume that somebody is going to make a new contribution at that same amount. Republicans' legal challenges could involve ballot access issues. House Speaker Mike Johnson joined other Republicans on Monday in warning the GOP-backed lawsuit could emerge to stop states from placing another nominee on the presidential ballot instead of Biden, who won primary battles across the country earlier that year without serious competition. In some states, though, there are impediments to just switching someone out like that, Johnson told CNN. 14 million people went through the process and chose this nominee, Joe Biden. Now, a handful of people have gotten together and decided he's no longer suitable. Johnson said that violates that they are violating democratic principles. Like other Republicans, Johnson offers a vague glimpse at the potential challenges to come. But some GOP operatives have hinted at inconsistent tapestry of ballot access deadlines across all 50 states as a starting point. How quickly Democrats formalize their new nominee, Harris has said she was already secured the necessary number of delegates, would affect whether Republican groups have cases to make based on state deadlines. Weeks before Biden bowed out of the race on Sunday, the loudest, most serious voice raising threats about deadline-related lawsuit came from Mike Howell, executive director of the Heritage Fund Oversight Projection, who released a memo on the 21st of June outlining how such cases could be brought in the battleground states of Georgia, Nevada, and Wisconsin. Of the 3 states mentioned in the memo, Wisconsin was the only one with a specific deadline of September 3rd. Neither Georgia nor Nevada have specific deadlines for a candidate to be placed on the ballot. The earliest ballot access deadline is Iowa, which requires party nominees to be selected by August 16th. However, there is an exception for late conventions, meaning that after the Democratic convention begins on August 19th and ends August 22nd, the party will have 5 days to finalize the nominee for the Hawkeye state ballot. Ohio deadline of August 7th, but the state recently enacted a law changing the date to accommodate the Democratic convention. Excuse me. However, the changes to the Ohio rules technically do not take effect until September 1st, prompting DNC leaders to call for a virtual roll call ahead of the start of the convention August 19th. Meanwhile, the Harris campaign on Monday evening gained support from the more than the necessary 1,976 delegates she needs to be victorious in the eventual first ballot and earn the party's nominee. The DNC is seeking to have the process for making her the official nominee completed 12 days before the convention starts. Even if the virtual vote was pushed beyond July, DNC Chairman Jamie Harrison said in, God damn it. Oh my fucking, all right, I'm done. Fucking hell. So there we go. I mean, maybe it's just me, but that kind of makes a lot of sense when we're talking about the whole campaign finance stuff. my ears. I mean, like I said, it makes sense. Because but it makes sense because you can't just assume that just because someone donated for Biden, they're going to donate for Harris. They could, like, a donor could be like, I donated to Biden. I don't want to donate to Harris, even if Biden endorsed her. I don't like her or whatever reason. So this whole, no, you got to refund the money, and then they can go and recontribute this if they want to. Or maybe a donor will be like, well, I really believe Biden can win, and so I'm going to donate to him X amount. And then Biden drops out, and he's like, well, and then gets his money back, and then he's like, well, I don't think Harris can win, but Biden endorsed her, so I'm going to give her some money, but I'm not going to give her as much. That could happen as well. So the whole FEC stuff, the federal election law, it's very interesting. And honestly, it makes a lot of sense to me. Just because someone donated to Biden doesn't necessarily mean they would donate to Kamala. They may not even, they may not like Kamala. They may have, they supported Biden, but like Harris is like it's only because she's vice president. She's by herself. There's no way I'd vote for her or send her money. So it makes sense to me that you would have to return the money, and then if donors want to donate at that point, then they can't, or return the money, return the money to donors, and donors can just send that money right back if they want to, because there's no guarantee that all the donors are going to want to endorse or donate to Harris campaign, even if Biden endorsed her. So it's very interesting. It makes sense to me, I guess. That's what I want to say. All right, I'm so tired. I got shit I need to do anyways. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you like and give a follow. Oh, sorry about that. I hope you have a good day. And make sure you be here tomorrow. I will be covering Biden's speech, and I probably will go over the hearings into that Director Wray of the FBI is doing. I hope you have a good day. Peace out, and see you later.